The text message from Aunt Diana lit up my phone screen like a slap in the face. The Morton family reunion is this Saturday at the Imperial Grand. Don't bother coming. No failures allowed. I sat in my private office on the top floor of the Imperial Grand Hotel, surrounded by floor-to-ceiling windows offering a panoramic view of the city I'd conquered, and laughed. 5 years ago that message would have cut deep. Now it was just amusing. My phone buzzed again. We have standards to maintain. The Imperial Grand is the most exclusive hotel in the city. We can't have you embarrassing us again. I glanced at the massive oil painting hanging on my wall, the one showing 3 generations of the Wilson family, the hotel's previous owners, shaking hands with me after I bought their legendary hospitality empire for $300 million. Gosh. But Aunt Diana didn't know that. None of them did. To my family I was still Sophia Morton, the great disappointment. The one who dropped out of law school to waste time in the hospitality industry. The failure who chose to work as a hotel maid instead of joining the family's prestigious law firm. They never knew that while cleaning rooms I was learning every aspect of hotel operations. They didn't know that my worthless job as a concierge taught me what luxury travelers really wanted. And they certainly didn't know that my time as a restaurant server helped me revolutionize high-end hotel dining. Another message popped up, this time from my cousin Victoria. Mom's right, Sophia. This is an important family gathering. We can't have you showing up in your work uniform again. My work uniform, these days, was custom-tailored Armani, but they wouldn't know that either. They still pictured me in the housekeeping uniform I'd worn 10 years ago, when I first started learning the hotel business from the ground up. Ms. Morton. My assistant Michael's voice came through the intercom. The quarterly revenue reports are ready for your review. And the Wilson family sent over the final ownership transfer documents for their Singapore properties. Thank you, Michael. And what about the family reunion booking for Saturday? Everything is arranged as requested. The Morton party has reserved our grand ballroom. They asked for our most expensive champagne package. Should I add it to their bill? I smiled, remembering how Aunt Diana had bragged on Facebook about hosting the reunion at the city's most exclusive venue. No, let them think it's complimentary. For now. I turned back to my phone where the family group chat was still buzzing with discussions about the reunion. My mother had joined in. Please understand, Sophia. Your aunt is just trying to maintain our family's reputation. The Imperial Grand is very selective about their clientele. As we were. But not in the way they thought. I opened my laptop and pulled up the guest profiles my staff had created for the Morton family reunion. Aunt Diana Morton attempted to use expired credit cards at 3 different luxury hotels last year. Cousin Victoria Morton complained about every hotel she'd ever stayed at, always demanding free upgrades. Uncle George Morton, known for sexually harassing female hotel staff. The entire family had been quietly blacklisted by most high-end hotels in the city. The only reason they got a reservation at the Imperial Grand was because I owned it. My phone buzzed again. This time it was my younger sister Lily, the only family member who knew the truth. Oh me Sophia, are you really going to let them go through with this? They're being horrible. I typed back, don't worry. I have a plan. Lily was the exception to the family's collective delusion. She'd seen me work my way up from cleaning rooms to owning them. She'd been there when I took out my first business loan, when I bought my first small hotel, when I started building my empire. Just promise me you'll record their faces when they find out, she messaged. Already arranged, I replied. Every security camera in the building will be recording. I leaned back in my chair, remembering the day 5 years ago when Aunt Diana had thrown me out of her house for embarrassing the family at her daughter's wedding. My crime? Telling the truth about Victoria's new husband and his history of investment fraud. 6 months later, when Victoria's husband was arrested for running a Ponzi scheme, no one apologized. They just pretended it never happened, like they pretended I didn't exist unless they needed someone to mock. A knock at my door interrupted my thoughts. Come in. James Chin, my head of security, entered with a tablet in hand. Ms. Morton, I've reviewed the security protocols for Saturday's event. Are you sure you want to wait until they're all inside before? Yes. I cut him off with a smile. Let them get comfortable first. Let them order the expensive champagne. Let them brag to their friends about being at the Imperial Grand. He nodded, understanding in his eyes. James had been with me since my first hotel back when I was still learning the business. He'd seen how hard I'd worked, how much I'd sacrificed. And their room reservations? He asked. Cancel them. All of them. The moment they try to check in, I want them to learn that their rooms are suddenly unavailable. Even your parents? I thought about my father's dismissive words when I told him I was leaving law school. No daughter of mine will be a servant. If you walk away from law, you walk away from this family. Especially my parents. James made a note on his tablet. And the ballroom setup? Remove everything except one table. One chair. Leave the chandeliers dark except for a single spotlight on that chair. Psychological warfare, he grinned. I like it. After James left, I walked to the window, looking down at the city that had watched me rise from maid to magnate. The Imperial Grand stood as a testament to everything I'd achieved, not through family connections or inherited privilege, but through hard work and determination. My phone buzzed one more time. Aunt Diana again. We've hired professional photographers. Try to understand, we can't have someone like you ruining the photos. The Imperial Grand has standards. I smirked, running my finger along the nameplate on my desk. Sophia Morton, CEO and owner, Imperial Hospitality Group. Oh, Aunt Diana, I murmured. You have no idea what our standards really are. I spent the rest of the week reviewing every detail of my plan. The security cameras were adjusted to capture every possible angle. The staff was briefed. Those who had suffered from my family's entitled behavior over the years were particularly enthusiastic about what was coming. Friday night, I called Lily. Are you ready for tomorrow? Born ready, she laughed. I've got my video camera charged and everything. But Sophia, are you sure about this? I mean, they're still family. I thought about all the family gatherings I'd been excluded from. All the times they'd mocked my career choices. All the years of being treated like a servant rather than a daughter. They stopped being family the day they decided I was beneath them, I replied. Tomorrow they learn exactly how wrong they were. That night I stood in my penthouse suite at the top of the Imperial Grand, laying out my outfit for the next day. Not the Armani suits I usually wore, but something specific. The very same housekeeping uniform I'd worn 10 years ago, carefully preserved as a reminder of where I'd started. Sometimes the best revenge doesn't need words. Sometimes it just needs the perfect costume for the perfect moment. Saturday morning arrived with the kind of perfect weather that money couldn't buy. I watched from my office as the first of my family members pulled up to the Imperial Grand in their leased luxury cars, trying so hard to look like they belonged. They're starting to arrive, James reported through the intercom. Your aunt just tried to demand an early check-in. When we told her the rooms weren't available, she asked to speak to the owner. I smiled, adjusting my old housekeeping uniform. And what did you tell her? That the owner would definitely be making an appearance today. I glanced at the security feeds showing the hotel lobby. Aunt Diana was holding court near the marble fountain, gesturing dramatically as she complained about the room situation. Victoria stood beside her, tapping away on her phone, probably writing another scathing review. My parents had just walked in, my father in his expensive suit, my mother dripping with borrowed jewelry. The ballroom is ready, James continued. One table, one chair, spotlight positioned as requested. And the documentation. I patted the thick folder on my desk. All here. Every insulting text, every mocking email, every social media post where they bragged about excluding me. Plus the hotel's guest records showing their history of entitled behavior. And, of course, the ownership documents. Your sister Lily just arrived too. She's in position with her camera. Perfect. I picked up my phone and sent a message to the family group chat. Hope you all enjoy your time at the Imperial Grand. The service here is excellent. The responses were immediate and cruel. Aunt Diana, how would you know? They'd never let someone like you through the door. Victoria, stop being pathetic. You clean rooms at the Holiday Inn. Mom, Sophia, please don't make a scene. We're trying to have a nice family gathering. I watched on the security feed as they read my message, laughing among themselves at my expense one last time. Start phase 1, I instructed James. Within minutes, the front desk began informing arriving family members that their room reservations had been cancelled. No, there weren't any other rooms available. No, they couldn't speak to a manager. No, their status as prestigious guests didn't matter. The chaos was glorious to watch. Aunt Diana's face turned purple as she demanded to know why her confirmed reservation was gone. Victoria burst into tears when she learned she wouldn't have a suite to change in before the reunion. My father tried throwing around legal threats, only to be politely informed that the Imperial Grand had excellent lawyers. Phase 2, I commanded, watching the drama unfold. The staff began herding my increasingly agitated family members toward the grand ballroom. As the double doors opened, their excited chatter died. Instead of the lavish setup they'd expected, instead of the round tables dressed in silk, the crystal centerpieces, the champagne fountains, they found a dark room with a single spotlight illuminating one chair. "There must be some mistake," I heard my mother say, her voice shrill with embarrassment. "No mistake, Mrs. Morton," James replied smoothly. "Please, everyone take turns standing in the spotlight. The owner insists. This is outrageous." Aunt Diana screeched. "Do you know who we are? I demand to speak to the owner immediately." "Your wish is granted," I said, stepping into the ballroom. The silence was deafening. 40 pairs of eyes turned to stare at me, standing there in my old housekeeping uniform, holding my folder of documents. "Sophia." My father's voice cracked. "What are you doing here? And why are you dressed like that?" "Like what, Dad? Like a failure? Like someone beneath you?" I walked slowly toward the spotlight. "Like someone who doesn't deserve to be part of this family?" "If this is some kind of joke," Aunt Diana started, but I cut her off. "Oh, it's not a joke. Though I have to admit, watching you all throw tantrums about your cancelled reservations was pretty amusing." Understanding began to dawn on their faces as I continued walking, my voice carrying in the perfect acoustics of my ballroom. "You see, Aunt Diana, the Imperial Grand does have very high standards. We don't tolerate guests who abuse our staff. We don't accept expired credit cards. And we certainly don't cater to people who think money equals class." "What are you talking about?" Victoria demanded. "You're just a maid." I reached the spotlight and turned to face my family. "Actually, I'm the owner of the Imperial Grand and the entire Imperial Hospitality Group. All 15 luxury hotels across 3 continents." The folder opened with a satisfying thwack in the silence. "Let's review some history, shall we? Here's you, Aunt Diana, calling me a failure for dropping out of law school. Here's you, Victoria, mocking my servant's job on Facebook. Here's you, Dad, telling me I wasn't your daughter anymore because I chose hospitality over law." I pulled out the ownership documents, letting them see the numbers, the acquisitions, the empire I'd built while they were busy looking down on me. That's impossible," my mother whispered. "What's impossible, Mom? That your failure daughter now owns the most exclusive hotel in the city? That the person you wouldn't invite to family gatherings could buy and sell this entire family 100 times over? But the rooms." Aunt Diana sputtered. "Cancelled. On my orders. Just like this reunion is cancelled." I smiled, enjoying the way they flinched. The Imperial Grand does have standards after all. We don't host events for people who discriminate against service workers. "You can't do this," Victoria wailed. "All my friends are coming. This is humiliating." Humiliating. I took a step closer. Like being told you're not good enough for your own family? Like being excluded from every gathering because you embarrass them? Like having your life choices mocked and degraded for years. "Security," I called out, and James appeared with his team. "Please escort everyone out. If they resist, we have excellent documentation of their past behavior at other hotels. I'm sure the press would love to hear about it." "Sophia, please," my father tried, reaching for me. "We can talk about this. Like you talked to me when I needed support? When I was working 3 jobs to learn this business. When I was building something real while you were all playing pretend with your rented luxury and maxed out credit cards." The security team began herding my shell-shocked family toward the exits. I could hear Aunt Diana's protests, Victoria's sobs, my mother's pleas, but they meant nothing now. "Oh, and one more thing," I called after them. "The champagne you ordered? The one you thought was complimentary? I'll be sending the bill to each of you. With a service charge." After they were gone, Lily emerged from her hiding spot, camera in hand. "That was epic. But, are you okay?" I looked around the empty ballroom, remembering all the times I'd been told I wasn't good enough to be in places like this. "I'm perfect." Later that night I changed back into my usual clothes and sat in my office, watching the sunset paint the city gold. My phone had hundreds of missed calls and messages from family members, ranging from angry to apologetic to manipulative. I deleted them all. The next morning, every major society column in the city ran the story: Hotel Empire owner reveals identity, cancels family reunion over discrimination. The articles detailed my journey from maid to magnate, celebrating the very path my family had ridiculed. My aunt's social circle was devastated. My father's law firm partners were shocked. Victoria's friends couldn't stop talking about it. The family that had worked so hard to maintain their image of success was exposed as frauds by the very person they'd rejected. 1 week later, I received a letter from my father. Inside was a formal invitation to join the family law firm as a partner. I sent back a housekeeping uniform with a note: "No thanks. I prefer owning buildings to renting offices in them." The Imperial Grand continued to thrive, its reputation for excellence growing stronger. I made it a policy to hire and promote people who, like me, wanted to learn the business from the ground up. Every new employee heard my story not as a tale of revenge, but as proof that true success doesn't come from family names or inherited privilege. Sometimes, late at night, I'd put on my old uniform and walk the halls of my hotel, remembering the girl who learned every aspect of the business while her family mocked her choices. She wasn't a failure. She was a founder. And now everyone knew it. The Morton family never held another reunion at a luxury hotel. They couldn't. They'd been blacklisted by every high-end property in the country. Apparently, other hotel owners appreciated my story. Some even framed it in their offices as a reminder that success doesn't always wear designer labels. As for me, I kept that spotlight in the ballroom. Sometimes during hotel tours I'd tell new employees about the day I stood in it, wearing a housekeeping uniform, teaching my family that they'd been wrong about me all along. It wasn't just about revenge. It was about showing them, showing everyone, that true worth isn't about who you were born to be. It's about who you choose to become. And I chose to become something they never imagined. Successful on my own terms, in my own way, in an industry they thought was beneath them. The Imperial Grand stood as my testament. Not bad for a failure.